now. So it might take a moment. Sometimes there's about 3 minutes delay. Right. And if I drink, Morena, I'm just a little bit early and I have been downstairs and called someone to check that I am running live today after a number of glitches. Sometimes it's by making mistakes that we learn how to do things, certainly the case for me. As I was out on my walk this morning, I noticed lots and lots of bears in the windows of houses, and I've got this little bear that was my son's, which is a little ornament. It's a little bear with a cricket ball who's here to practice with me today. So as you probably know, this is it's a trauma-informed practice. At any time you can opt out, you can move to resting. You don't have to do what I say. You're welcome to access this at any time, and you're also welcome to share it. I am a step closer to having a YouTube channel, so that will mean it's easier to access past recordings. So, day 8 of Rahui, our lockdown or protection of sacred place, protection of our community. So in your own time, maybe checking out where you are in your bubble, perhaps taking a look around, maybe looking behind, to your side, checking out where you are in this space, where is most useful for you to be. It might be sitting, it might be standing. Today's practice is going to be probably about 40 minutes with a relaxation at the end. So starting with seated, bringing your awareness to notice where you make contact with the ground. And one option could be to move. So maybe moving. If you like, moving your torso forward and back. If you're moving your torso, there's a possibility you might feel a change in pressure where you make contact with the ground. It's only a possibility. We don't always feel sensation. In fact, it's quite normal not to. In your own time, you may like to lengthen your spine, maybe sitting up tall. If you're interested, maybe bringing some movement to your shoulders. So knowing this is your practice, perhaps moving your shoulders. A few options. One could be lifting and lowering, or maybe moving your shoulders forward and back. It's another option. So how you move your shoulders is up to you. If you're moving your shoulders, the possibility is that you'll feel sensation, but it's only a possibility. Maybe feeling sensation. And in your own time, guiding yourself back to your neutral, and maybe bringing your awareness to your head and neck. If you like, moving your head and neck. If you're interested, perhaps lifting and lowering your chin to your midline. So maybe lifting your chin, perhaps looking up. Maybe lowering your chin. And you get to choose how fast you move. So that's your choice. Another option could be to bring your chin to your shoulder and possibly moving your chin to your other shoulder. You might like to move quickly or slowly. Finding your rhythm, finding what's useful for you, maybe moving your chin and breathing. Possibly lifting and lowering. And finding your way back to your neutral. And today I'm going to offer a little bit of face yoga. I think, some of us have been spending a lot of screen time, so our eyes kind of can be narrowed. And there's lots and lots of muscles to move in our face. So if you like, maybe bringing your awareness to your eyes. If you like, rubbing your hands, maybe rubbing your hands together. You might get warm, you might make a noise. And if you like, bringing your hands to your eyes and breathing. So maybe bringing your hands to your eyes and breathing. And if you like, taking your hands away and maybe experimenting with looking up. So maybe moving your eyes, perhaps looking up to the ceiling. If you like, holding there for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And then in your own time, maybe bring your eyes to look at the ground. Perhaps holding there for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Moving your eyes back to center. And if you like, bringing your eyes to look to the side, maybe bringing your finger out, maybe using your finger as a focus, and maybe looking to the side to your finger. If you like, holding there for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Moving eyes back to center, maybe having a blink. And then if you like, moving your eyes to look out to your other side. Perhaps moving your eyes to look at your finger. Perhaps holding here for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And guiding yourself back to neutral. Another facial movement you may like to try is to scrunch your face, maybe holding all the muscles of your cheek and chin tightly. If you like holding, it's hard to talk like this, holding for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And finding your way back to neutral. And then if you like, experimenting with raising the corners of your mouth. So maybe raising the corners of your mouth as much as you can. And if you like, holding there. 5, 4, 3, and 1. Finding your way back to neutral in your own time. Then if you like, moving to explore cats and cows. So cats and cows can be explored seated on a chair or on the floor or on all fours on your mat. Wherever you are, maybe bringing your awareness to notice where you make contact with the ground. If you like, lengthening your front torso, perhaps lifting your chin and looking up. Then in your own time, maybe tucking your chin, curling your spine and looking down. So those 2 movements, you're welcome to explore in your own rhythm. Maybe dipping your spine, lifting your chin and looking up. Perhaps curling your spine, tucking your chin and looking down. If you're interested, you could synchronize your breathing with your movement. So maybe breathing in as you move in one direction, or possibly breathing out as you move in another direction. So you might find that you're breathing and moving. Always knowing there's no right or wrong way to breathe here. If you like, sitting back on your ankles in your own time, maybe bringing your forehead to rest on your hands. If you're seated, perhaps bringing elbows to your knees and maybe bringing forehead to rest in your hands. Perhaps noticing where you make contact with the ground. Knowing you're always welcome to move. You're welcome to stay in forms longer. You're welcome to go into any form you like. So from here, if you like, I am going to offer a form where you step your hands forward, maybe bringing your weight to your hands, perhaps lifting your chin and looking up. And then in your own time, moving your torso back to your ankles, bringing weight to your chin and looking up. If you're seated, you may like to bring your hands to your knees, maybe bringing your hands further down your legs and perhaps raising your arms. So maybe leaning forward, maybe moving your hands towards the ground, perhaps raising your hands. moving at your own pace and your own rhythm. Finding your way back to neutral. Finding your resting form, perhaps resting your forehead on your hands, maybe sitting back on your ankles and breathing. And if you're interested, maybe moving to explore your expression of downward dog. So if you're on all fours, maybe bringing your awareness to notice where you place your hands, where you place your knees, perhaps lifting and lowering, maybe tucking your toes. If you're interested, maybe lifting and lowering your knees, perhaps lifting and lowering your torso. So in your expression of downward dog, you're welcome to have your knees bent, perhaps moving your knees, maybe lifting and lowering your heels, and breathing. If you're seated, what you may like to do is extend your legs and possibly raising your arms. How much you raise is up to you. If you're interested, maybe moving your feet. So in your own time, maybe lifting your torso, perhaps lifting and lowering. Finding your way back to resting, if you like, sitting back on your ankles, perhaps resting your forehead on your hands and breathing. You might notice your breath is always with you. It ebbs and flows, comes and goes, and it's always there. So from here, you might like to find your way to your expression of seated or standing mountain. Maybe bringing your awareness to notice where you place your feet. You could look, maybe checking out where you place your feet. You might like to lift and lower. Or another option could be to bring your weight to your toes. And then moving your weight to your heels. So maybe moving your weight from your toes to your heels. If you're seated or standing, maybe moving your weight from your toes to your heels. Then if you like, softening your knees, maybe moving your knees. You're standing, perhaps bringing your torso over your ankle. If you like, standing tall or sitting up tall. Maybe bringing your elbows, your shoulders, I was moving my elbows. Bringing your shoulders over your hips or perhaps your ankles. And then maybe bring your shoulders over your seat, maybe your ankles. And in your own time, perhaps bringing your head to balance on your shoulders and breathing. Possibly noticing your breath is with you. And you're standing or seated mountain, standing or seated moanga. If you feel the sensation of your breath anywhere in your body, you're welcome to take your hand there. So maybe bringing your awareness to notice the sensation of your breath. So perhaps taking a few moments to notice the sensation of your breath. Finding your way to neutral and possibly exploring moving your arms. Knowing you're always welcome to move your arms in whatever way you like, maybe lifting and lowering. Another option could be to raise your arms and bring your hands to touch above your head, possibly turning your palms out and bringing your hands to your side. So maybe raising and lowering your arms. If you like, you could coordinate your breathing with your movement. So maybe breathing in as you move in one direction and breathing out as you move in another direction. So possibly breathing and moving. If you're moving your arms, you might feel sensation in your arm. Always knowing it's quite normal not to feel sensation. Finding your way to neutral in your own time. And if you like, experimenting with leaning forward. So one way of leaning forward could be to bring your hands to your knees and leaning forward. Another option could be to soften your knees and maybe bring your elbows to your knees, perhaps tucking your chin. Another option could be to move your knees. So you're welcome to move in and out of the form, perhaps being guided by your body. If you're seated, maybe bring your hands to your knees, perhaps tucking your chin and leaning forward. Or maybe bring your hands further down towards your feet, maybe tucking your chin and leaning forward. You might notice your breath is with you. So maybe exploring leaning forward, perhaps moving, maybe moving in and out of the form, and breathing. If you like, moving to straight back and maybe leaning forward. It's another choice. So if you like, moving in and out of your forward fold and breathing. And finding your way to upright in your own time. If you like, moving to cross your arms, maybe bringing your hands together, or perhaps bringing your hands to your shoulders and breathing. If you're interested, you could experiment with moving your chin. So that's a choice. So maybe bringing hands together, or perhaps hands to your shoulders. You might feel the sensation of your hands making contact with your shoulders, or perhaps your hands making contact with your other hand. You like being guided by your body, maybe switching at any time. Perhaps bringing hands together and breathing. Maybe moving your chin. Maybe feeling the sensation of your hands making contact with your shoulder, or your hand making contact with your other hand. You might notice your breath is with you. It ebbs and flows, comes and goes, and it's always there. In your own time, Perhaps loosening your hands, maybe giving your hands a bit of a shake, and possibly bringing your hands into your line of vision. If you're interested in doing an Alzheimer's exercise, maybe bringing your thumb and ring finger together and your other thumb and ring finger together, and then rotating thumb and ring finger to the top. So maybe rotating thumb and ring finger. Anytime, you're welcome to reverse. You might have your arms out or your elbows in. It's a choice. Checking what works for you. Then, if you like, giving your hands a bit of a shake. Finding your way back to your expression of standing or seated mountain. Perhaps finding your stability. Maybe bringing your awareness to notice where you place your feet. And perhaps moving into a balancing form. So what you may like to do is to straighten one of your legs, maybe shifting your weight into that leg, and if you like, lifting your heel of your other foot off the ground. Maybe lifting your foot, perhaps bringing the sole of your foot to the side of your leg, or maybe lifting and lowering. You're welcome to arrange your arms in a way that's useful for you, maybe at your side, or perhaps with support. So maybe exploring a balancing form. If you're seated, what you may like to do is perhaps bring your hands to your upper legs. If you like, pressing one foot into the ground and lifting your other foot, you might feel muscles engaging under your hand. It's a possibility. So maybe feeling muscles engaging. Anytime, you're welcome to switch. So maybe experimenting with standing on one foot, and you might feel sensation in that foot, maybe in that leg. If you like, sometimes it's helpful to find a spot on the wall that's not moving. So in your own time, you're welcome to switch. Perhaps noticing that you're breathing, maybe lifting and lowering, and finding your way to both feet on the ground in your own time. If you're interested in moving to the front of the mat to perhaps explore a warrior one, you're welcome to do that. If you're seated on a chair, maybe moving to the side of your chair and perhaps extending one leg behind you. Maybe bringing your hand to your side or maybe hand out in front. If you're standing, you may like to step back with one of your feet. You might have your knees bent or straight, so you're always welcome to move in the form. Arranging your arms in a way that's useful for you. Maybe at your side, perhaps out in front. And breathing. Possibly holding in this form for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bringing both feet together, and if you like, stepping back with your opposite foot. Now, how much you step back is up to you. You're always welcome to move in the form, possibly arranging your arms in a way that's useful for you. And breathing. If you like, holding this form for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. finding your way back to neutral in your own time, perhaps stepping both feet together. So next I'm going to offer Goddess, one of my favourite forms, and I realised the other day as I went through some of my notes that I haven't offered it for a long time. So perhaps finding a way to stand, maybe facing the long edge of your mat, or perhaps seated, and if you like, stepping your feet apart. Then if you like, turning both feet out, possibly bending your knees. Then if you like, raising your arms and breathing. So perhaps finding your expression of Goddess. Perhaps holding here for the count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Finding your way back to upright. Finding your expression of standing mountain or seated mountain. And then if you like, perhaps exploring this again in your own time. Maybe stepping feet apart, perhaps turning feet out, maybe bending knees. And if you like, raising your arms and breathing. Finding your way back to upright in your own time. Finding your expression of standing or seated mountain. And if you like, moving into a lunge. So if you're seated, maybe moving to the side of your chair, perhaps dropping your knee. Maybe ranging your hands at your side, or possibly out in front. If you're standing, perhaps stepping back with one of your feet and dropping your knee to the floor. Anytime, you're welcome to move your foot further back. Maybe having your hands on the ground or possibly on your knee and breathing. You might feel some sensation through your leg and you might feel nothing at all. It's quite normal not to feel sensation. Perhaps noticing your breathing. Ooh, got the wobbles today. And when you're ready, perhaps being guided by your body, maybe switching to your other side. So perhaps stepping your opposite foot forward and breathing. Arranging your arms in a way that's useful for you. Maybe at your side, perhaps on your knee, or possibly on the floor. And you're welcome to move. Perhaps exploring a lunge. Maybe feeling sensation in your leg, maybe not. Then if you like, in your own time, finding your way to resting. So that may be child form, perhaps sitting back on your ankle, maybe resting your forehead on your hands and breathing. If you're seated, maybe resting your elbows on your knees, maybe resting your forehead in your hands. Another option could be to extend your arms, maybe extending your arms. Perhaps noticing that you're breathing breath is with you, ebbs and flows, comes and goes. It's always there. Then in your own time, perhaps finding your way to a seated form, either on your chair or your mat, knowing you can do these forms standing or lying. If you are seated on your mat, sometimes a small rug or a cushion can offer your spine some support. And I do want to say a little bit of support is not cheating. We're all allowed a little bit of support. So if you like, finding your expression of seated mountain, maybe sitting up tall, perhaps arranging your head to balance on your shoulders, and then perhaps exploring a twist. So maybe bringing your chin to your shoulder, maybe to your left shoulder, and perhaps bringing your right hand to your left knee. Perhaps sitting up tall. If you like, bring one hand behind you, sitting up tall, and maybe twisting and breathing. So at any time, you're welcome to move back to centre. Perhaps sit up tall, maybe turning your chin to your right shoulder, perhaps bringing your hand to your left hand to your right knee, maybe one hand behind you, and sitting up tall. So if you like, twisting, maybe sitting up tall, perhaps breathing. If you like, being guided by your body, perhaps exploring the twist on your other side, maybe switching. You might feel some sensation through your torso, or maybe the side of your body, and you might feel nothing at all, and that's okay. So perhaps twisting, and if you like, finding your way back to your centre, to your expression of seated or standing moanga. Then if you like, maybe moving your torso. A couple of options. One could be moving your torso in circles in either direction. So possibly moving your torso in either direction. Another option could be moving your torso forward and back. You might notice a change in pressure where you make contact with the ground. It's a possibility. Perhaps noticing your breath is with you, that you're breathing. Then in your own time, maybe finding your way to rest on your abdomen, to explore some forms on your abdomen. If you're seated, what you may like to do is extend your legs, maybe raising your arms, perhaps bending your elbows, maybe raising your arms. So if you like, bringing your elbows under your shoulders and perhaps your hands onto your mat. And you could choose to look forward or up or down. So choosing where you want to look and breathing. If it's available to you, there is another form called Cobra, where if you like, bringing your hands closer to your torso, maybe pressing into the ground and maybe lifting your torso. So that's a choice. At any time, you're welcome to bring your forehead to rest on your hands. Possibly noticing the sensation of your breath. Maybe feeling the sensation of your breath moving against the ground. It's a possibility. If you would like to explore lifting and lowering your legs, maybe extending your arms, maybe lifting and lowering your leg. Another option could be to lift and lower your arm, or possibly lifting and lowering your arm and leg, and breathing. You might feel sensation in your abdomen, and you might feel nothing at all. And do know that you can always feel sensation anywhere. You don't have to feel sensation where I say. So maybe lifting and lowering your leg, perhaps lifting and lowering your arm, and breathing. In your own time, maybe using your hands to press on the ground, maybe moving back into what we sometimes call child form, perhaps resting your forehead on your hands. If you like, bringing your awareness to notice where you make contact with the ground, maybe looking, perhaps breathing, maybe moving. Then in your own time, perhaps moving onto your back to explore the last part of your practice, maybe moving your legs. If you're seated, maybe moving your legs. If you're lying on your back, perhaps bringing your feet close to your torso. If you like, extending your arms. And there's a couple of options for moving your knees, maybe moving your knees from one side of your mat to the other side of your mat. It's moving your knees from side to side. Another option could be to bring your knees to rest on your side and perhaps looking in the opposite direction. Then in your own time, you're welcome to stay here as long as you like, maybe lifting your knees through midline, and perhaps bringing your knees to rest on your other side. You might feel sensation through the side of your torso. You might feel nothing at all. That's normal. So perhaps looking in the opposite direction and breathing. Like bringing your knees through midline, perhaps bringing your knees to rest on your other side and breathing. Then in your own time, maybe finding a resting form that works for you. Now, if you're lying on your back, sometimes a little handheld rolled up, just where your spine is. Some people like that, so that's an option. Or maybe resting your feet on a chair. So perhaps finding a resting form that's useful for you. That might be seated on your side. Resting form is one in which you feel comfortable and your muscles may not or don't need to move, but you are welcome to move. A bit of a paradox, really. So I'll offer a brief body scan exercise. This one will be a little bit different to usual. So when you're ready, perhaps taking a breath, and if you like, bringing your awareness to notice where you make contact with the ground. As your breath comes again, perhaps bringing your awareness to notice the support of the surface beneath you. Then, if you like, bringing your awareness to notice sensation at your eyebrow center. So you're welcome to tune my voice out, maybe take your mind there, or perhaps your hand. If you like, bringing your awareness to notice sensation at your back, the back of your head. Sensation at the back of your shoulders. Sensation in your neck. Sensation in both arms together. Sensation on your back torso. Sensation at your heart center, araha. Sensation in your abdomen, your front torso. Sensation in the whole of your right leg. Sensation in your heels. Sensation in the whole of your right leg. Sensation in the whole of your left leg. Sensation in your heels. Sensation in the whole of your left leg. Sensation in your back torso. Sensation in your front torso. Sensation at your heart center, araha. Sensation in your neck. Sensation at the tip of your nose. Sensation at your eyebrow center. Sensation in the whole of your body, your entire body. Sensation in the whole of your body, all together. I'm going to offer a couple of minutes of silence. Then I'll ring the chime for an opportunity for you to close your practice. So do know there's no hurry to move. When you do want to move, maybe wriggling your fingers and toes, perhaps moving to rest on your side for a time. If you like, taking a moment to acknowledge your practice, your purpose for practicing. Maybe it's to nurture yourself, perhaps to connect with yourself, or maybe something else. So if you like, taking a moment to acknowledge your practice to yourself. So I just want to say thank you for practicing with me. It's wonderful for me to have a practice and to feel like I'm practicing with other people. So it's a wonderful opportunity for me in this period of Rahui or lockdown. Take care of you and your loved ones in your bubble. Travel safe. And I will see you again tomorrow, 12 midday, same place. Ka kite anō.